And we are live. I always feel like I have to say that. And we are live. Welcome to another Wednesday night watch talk. I am Bobby Legs, and I'm joined with some good friends on a Wednesday night here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Really appreciate everyone on the chat joining us this evening. Let's go around the horn. Chaz, FTB, how are
What is
you
up?
today? What's going
Great,
on?
great. Thanks for having me. It's good to be on.
Anytime.
I'm honored to be here with both uh, Amin and Colin, and
And
feel
Bobby.
like I'm well, obviously Bobby. Wearing the
Oh, yeah. Can I get a solo shot of that?
That
Hold on.
is
yeah,
what a beauty.
Yeah. Yeah, you
it
got it.
is.
You got it.
There
Yep.
we go.
There we go. Omega World Timer.
Yep,
Awesome. Do
just a
you
beautiful
mind? Can
dial.
you want to tell the chat like what's going on with that rubber strap that you ordered? The
You
snafu.
know, it is. It's one of those frustrations for watch enthusiasts. We all know what it's like to have that one missing ingredient. I think this watch performs. Um, the rubber strap seems to be the ticket. I've
Mhm.
got it here. I think.
Most of it.
Yeah, most of it. I got almost all of the strap. I had to get this, and except for that little end piece right there,
Oh,
that requires a little metal piece there, and had to pay for the clasp and the separately, and the strap, the rubber part separately. But they got all of that, but they forgot the little end pieces. So yeah, and
Can't
it's
believe
four to
those aren't
six
part of the
weeks.
strap, but I guess that's
I know,
because they're
it's ridiculous.
yeah.
And especially when what you pay for these well, not aftermarket, it's OEM part,
yeah.
Yeah.
but they rob you when after. But not don't want to be negative. The boutique really nice people, but to get the two little end pieces, 4 to 6 weeks.
Damn.
Ooh.
So
That
yeah,
hurts.
Hopefully they
yeah,
give you a little swag for your trouble or something.
yeah. They gave me like I think a little microfiber towel,
Ooh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty lame, really. But I mean, I look at other guys that get invited to great events and come back with shopping carts full of stuff,
Yep.
and I get a microfiber towel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Torin got extra Grand Seiko straps. That's
Yeah.
amazing
Crazy,
swag.
crazy, yes. And but the watch is very comfortable on bracelet. It's just a little fancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It it's
Great watch.
almost like a running joke. Or maybe I have this perception totally wrong, but it's almost like a running joke of getting swag from an AD. Like it's like when I bought my second Tudor Black Bay 58, right? I had the original one and the blue one. I bought it from the same AD. Um, my sales guy was like, "Oh, I sent you something nice extra," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty cool." And it was one glove, like one Tudor glove, like not the pair, you know, just one. I'm like, oh,
It was like
okay.
the opposite of your dominant hand too.
Yeah. I think it was actually. It was in my right hand. I'm a lefty,
Uh,
but which would have worked out for 80% of the population, just not
yeah.
not me. I've gotten more swag from ordering from Nomos. Do you know what I
What
mean? Like,
what what swag did you get from Nomos?
well, they always send you like either always, not every time, and whether you spend like I bought a watch that was like 200 bucks, 200, $300, and a watch that was $1,000. They always will at least send you a like an extra NATO strap, right? Which is whatever. I mean, it usually doesn't match, but
Mm,
it's something.
mm,
Or like a microfiber,
mm.
or or I forget. So I got sent something else, but I mean like or watch roll. I remember one time I got a watch roll.
Mm.
Wow.
So I mean, if Nomos can do that for something that is like for a watch that's considered affordable, like why can't these luxury brands just like put some more in the budget? I don't
Throw
know.
us a bone. Throw us a
No.
Yeah,
bone.
Yeah.
I got
Almost is just so happy that someone bought something from them.
I think they do good
Bulgari
business
gave
now.
me some a decent little stuff.
Oh,
Bulgari
yeah.
gave me some cologne and some little travel pouches. Nothing like crazy, but
Yeah. When I bought my Zenith El Primero, now the I didn't get anything from the dealer, but the packaging inside of it, there was cologne and there was like a microfiber in it. So I got a couple of things in there, but I think that was straight from Zenith, right?
mm.
Colin,
Hmm.
anything for you? You get anything interesting?
Oh yeah,
Hats?
man. I begged my ass off, man. I get all kinds of swag. I've gotten the Rolex watch roll, like the 3 or 4 watch
Okay.
roll, which is pretty tough to get.
Yeah.
Um, Rolex chocolates, hats, Longines umbrella,
Pen.
Omega bag, a Rolex pen, an Omega pen. Yeah,
Oh,
man, you got a bag. Yeah.
so you got to ask or you got to beg?
No, you just
No.
I ask and when I tell them I'm coming to get a watch, I say, "Get the swag ready,
Get the
boys. I'm
swag
coming.
ready.
I'm coming. Swag monster's coming. Get it ready."
See, but you have a good relationship too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's good.
Hey, Nefarian, how's it going? What's going on? Dan's here. Bill K. Hey, Nilo, Peter, and Paul. Hey, Amin. So, what's up, man? How you doing today? What do
Doing
you got on the
okay.
list?
Doing
Yeah.
okay. Wearing the oh, took it off for the camera. Wearing the Doxa. This thing's really growing on me a lot. I'm
Yeah.
wearing it a lot. Keeps growing on
Sweet.
me.
It's a good
So
color.
it's so
Even in the
comfortable.
fall,
It's
it's grown on you.
yeah, it's really comfortable. It's really super lightweight, easy to just chuck on and go. Been toying with the idea of maybe getting a black strap for the
Mm.
to mix it up, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
not a
can
bad
wear
idea.
aquamarine in the winter. No real.
Yeah,
Don't really
yeah,
care.
yeah. Who
I
cares?
don't know
Who
why
Yeah.
that's
cares?
funny.
Wolfgang is here. We gave the Wolfgang. I think we gave the Wolfgang the week off, Amin. But we'll get him back on the show next week.
We need
Yeah.
you back, Wolfie.
We Hey, there's Joe, Justin, Bill K. Keith is here. How you doing, Keith? B Dev right there. Steve, Mr. Casio, Sam, all the way from Australia. Caliber is here. Marceau, what's going on? Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining us. Hey, James, how you doing, my buddy? There he is. Colin, what is up with you, man? How you
Not
doing?
much. I'm good, man.
It's like how I'm switching it up. I just go to the
Yeah,
crowd a
you
little
did a
bit.
little
Yeah,
zigzag.
a little
Yeah.
zigzag. All right. What do you?
At the Planet Ocean tonight.
Oh, very nice. I saw that picture on Instagram today you had with the pumpkins. Very nicely,
Yeah.
you know,
That
nice
was
shot.
a point and shoot. I didn't put much thought into it, honestly, but yeah, that's what I got. Not much is going on, man.
Not much. Okay. Well, we're talking watches. Um,
That's what we do.
that's what we do. That's why we're here. There's Ken. How you doing? I got that little StreamYard jump. Pale Horse is here. What is going on? Hey, MST, what's up? Jeffrey's here. Perth, Australia, and sporting the Zen U50 Mother of Pearl. Okay.
Nice.
Uh, okay. Sanjay, what's going on?
She's way better at it than I am.
Yeah. And there's Wilson. How you doing, sir? I got, of course, no surprise, my Rolex Submariner, which is my new evening watch. um, anyway. Well, speaking of Rolex Submariner, and we're going into our first topic of the evening, and of what I put on the title of the stream was buying or selling some watches, right? Building up watch equity, selling it to buy another piece. Now, you know, I was building watch equity over the last couple of years without even, I guess, realizing it. I mean, I was just in my mind collecting watches. I had to start from somewhere, right? And finding my way, going through the affordables, and whatever YouTube told me to buy, to finally developing a certain taste for certain types of watches, and building a collection that way. And then so fast forward when the Submariner, which was a watch I've been chasing for a really long time, became available, and becoming available when it did, sort of unexpected. I really had to do some shifting around. I didn't want to spend too much money out of pocket. Fortunately, I had built some watch equity. So I, meaning, and this is not a new concept, and actually the first time I ever heard of it was from Random Rob. He would talk about it, and then I think he did a video of it in the last year or so. I had a bunch of watches that I really liked. Thought that I would keep for a really, really long time. But then when push came to shove, and I had to raise some cash, I was able to sell some of these watches, and some of them were, rather affordable. Some of them were mid luxury. Fortunately, the ones in the mid luxury, I didn't really lose too much money on. I mean, I lost money. Maybe one or two I broke even. A couple I lost a couple $100, which I just tacked it on as a rental fee. If
Hmm.
look at it that way. I enjoyed them, and it was worth the couple $100 that I lost, because that was fine.
You had a watch
Eh,
experience.
I had a watch
Yeah.
experience, right? And so, like, I was able to sell 4 or 5 of those, and that helped me pay for the Submariner. Um, so, guys, I mean, at this point, I mean, is that a strategy that you have used? I mean, I get it. Day one, when you're collecting, you're not going to be able to do that because you haven't gotten to that point. Or is it something where when you buy a watch, I mean, you keep what you have in your collection. You're not much of a seller, and you just forgot the cash to do it. Chaz, you've got some pieces recently. Have you been selling, or is that not really your strategy?
I did. I probably, this time last year I had probably uh, 10 watches more total in my collection than I have now, as far as numbers. Um, I probably, like most of you guys, most of the friends we know, probably overdid it during the first part of the, dealing with the coof. We got locked in. We had to deal with the pestilence, and so I probably went overboard and got too many watches. But I was pretty new in the hobby, so I was just, if a watch looked pretty, if it hit my eye, I just got it. If I could afford it, and before long, you end up with a lot of watches that don't really have any you know direction or plan. And but the good part about all that, I found out what I didn't like. I found out what
Hmm.
watches appealed to me. Um, so I did have, the good part about that was I had some good watch equity. And part of what helps with that is I try to buy a lot of those kind of watches on the secondary market,
Hmm,
so that, because I think where you buying watches is where you get, that's where you get your value.
hmm,
So if a watch is not, if it's something I'm not sure I want long term, I usually try to wait and get it, on the secondary market. That way, when you do have to, if you do move on from it, you don't lose your shirt. Um, and I'm not in this to flip to make money.
yeah,
I don't enjoy selling watches enough to do that. So, uh, but I do. I think that watch equity is a good thing. Um, that's kind of the way I look at it. I've got a certain amount of money I'm going to put toward a hobby, and that's it. But by, you know, by cashing in part of that to get something you really want, you don't have to set out more, cash.
yeah.
So I've used the watch equity
Hmm.
to get a couple of nice watches this year. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin, what say you? I mean, I think this is something that you've.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but something that you've also done, right?
Well, I mean, especially in what resonated with what Chaz said there, you make your money or you build your equity when you buy a watch well. So that's when you
Hmm.
you make your money. I went through a streak where I was buying a lot of secondhand watches, but I was being very particular in what I would pay for them. Like, and I got some really good deals, and they were watches that I wanted. Like, I wasn't buying them. Well, they're the odd one I bought because they were good deals, but um, watches I wanted. I got to wear them for a while, but just like Chaz says, you've only got, well, you have two wrists, but one wrist that you usually put a watch on, and you find out which ones really get the wrist time and what you really like, and you get to experience it, and that's part of the fun of the hobby,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, before you realize it, you're like, man, I've spent, I've got $6,000 worth of watches in these three, and I really want this $6,000 watch.
Mhm.
And you do a 3 for 1 or a 2 for 1, or heck, I've even seen people do more than that. So, well, Bobby, you did like a 5 for 1,
Yeah,
and
at least 5. I mean, I may have done
yeah.
a couple more affordables in there, but yeah.
hmm So, yeah, I mean, I definitely did it in the past, just to kind of learn my tastes and learn what I like and collect some watch experiences,
Yeah.
really. And yeah, uh, no regrets, man.
Amit, tell us about your watch experiences.
Yeah, I think that trading up or selling to get a more expensive watch has been a way to like sort of fool myself into thinking I'm not spending as much on watches as I
Yeah,
am, you
yeah,
know, and either to have it not seem that way to me or have it not seem that way to my wife or both. But you when you trade up, you're not spending as much, right? And so
yeah,
if you
Right.
trade a $5,000 watch for an $8,000 watch, you're it's like buying a $3,000 watch, right? Instead of buying an $8,000 watch. Um,
yeah.
so it's been helpful, if you want to call it that, in terms of um, moving up to more expensive watches without feeling irresponsible over time. And but when I look back, so a few years ago, I had a lot of like $1,000 to $1,500 watches, like Stoa, Zinn, Oris, Longines,
hmm
Tissot,
Hmm.
and even though I tried to buy them well, like I bought on Joma Shop, for example, a lot, where you're not paying, you're getting a pretty healthy discount on a lot of the brands I just mentioned. I still lost a pretty good amount of money on average. So now, as I look back, and I have some more expensive watches, like I know that using watch equity the way I used it resulted in a pretty significant loss of money, right? So
hmm
if I were to, for example, take my Moser, my Breguet, and try to get a more expensive Breguet as an example, right?
Do
I
it.
know that I'm not getting money for money there, right? There's some losses I would incur to get
hmm
a different watch, and my stomach for those losses is I don't have the stomach for it too much
But
anymore.
but
Yeah.
can you approach those losses as a cost of enjoyment?
Yeah, yeah, you can, but it's sort of like but it really makes me think, do I want that one more or am I itchy for something new and I don't
Mm,
want to budget more money for it, right? And as I've settled in with my tastes and realized that what I have are things that I like a lot,
hmm
um, the factors for keeping what I've got have grown, and using them as equity, I just have less incentive to do that. For one thing, I've reached a price point where I don't want to level up. Like I
mm,
really don't want to end up
yeah.
with half as many watches that are twice as expensive as what I already have. Um, so that's a big factor too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great point because I think in my collection, like although it's small now, like I don't want to level up either, that much. I mean, I have a couple of pieces that I know that are going to stay. All those four pieces, right? The Kadoki, the Rolex, the Girard Perregaux that my first luxury watch, the Panerai. That's what I have in my core collection right now. My not counting G-Shocks. Those I don't want to level up from those watches. You know what I mean? I am so happy with that. Now, the downside of that is that I've gotten rid of all my watch equity, right? So
Mm,
now, like going forward, I have to be
yeah.
really calculated about what I'm going to get, and I make sure that I have, the cash
Yep.
for it. So that's the one downside of using all your watch equity. It's
Yeah.
gone. And I guess I could go back and buy some watches that I want, scratch an itch here and there. But I could do that. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to sell anymore. You know, um, I just want to buy and keep, um, and maybe play around with some G Shocks.
Yeah, if you're using it as a budgeting way to save money for
No.
watches, then you have to buy extremely well and
Uh-huh.
sell extremely well,
Hmm.
right?
It's super difficult
Yeah.
once you factor in shipping costs
Hmm.
and
Yep.
everything else and just the risk
Tax.
of doing it. And like, you might make a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. I mean, unless you're flipping Rolex, which you're not going to be
Hmm.
doing if you want a good relationship and all that kind of stuff. So, uh, it's really not a good financial strategy, but it's a heck of a lot of fun to do.
Don't you think that it's a strategy though that is probably uh, works better for a person who's basically a beginner
Yeah.
or in the early parts as you grow in your collection and you grow. I mean, it was 3 years ago spending you know $5,000 for a watch was something I'd not thought about. You
Yeah.
know, uh, I had other things that I other hobbies that I put money toward, and watches hadn't gotten into my seriously in my bloodstream at that time. I'm still wearing the Apple Watch, so I think it's a good strategy if you're just wanting to experience watches. You want to find
Hmm.
out where your tastes are, but as you
Hmm.
climb, you get to a point where you like Amin. He's not wanting to suffer those losses because he loves the watches he has.
Hmm.
And so there's a
And
point
he
at which
knows
that
his taste. He knows
right,
his
you know
taste
what
now.
you want.
Yeah.
It then it makes more sense just to save up for the watch you want
Hmm.
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
you don't have to go through unless you just enjoy buying and selling. You
Yeah.
know,
Uh, Joey's saying I have too much watch equity currently. A long, slow purge is coming. Okay, very interesting.
Ooh, that'll be
Yeah, it's
fun.
gonna be fun
sounds
to
like a
watch.
country song, by the way.
Yeah,
Long slow purge.
yeah.
That that could be a country song in like that.
Chaz, I wish you would just write a song and sing it to us next time. I would love to hear.
I know Wolfgang would not agree with this sentiment, but just like it's fun to watch somebody buying watches, one of our friends, it's also fun to see somebody set some stuff on fire.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I love
It-
Carnage. It's so
yeah,
good.
it's fun to see somebody selling off some stuff. See what they choose to sell.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's it's
What's that breaking point?
and it
Um,
often leads to buying watches too. So
Absolutely.
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 it's a lot
You
of
got
fun.
full pockets. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Sanjay says the watch may no longer with you, but the experience lasts forever. It's very poetic sometimes, says Sanjay. Craig, use some savings and some watch equity to purchase my Omega Speedmaster. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's a
It's a
good
good
combination.
it's a good use of equity.
Yep, absolutely. The equity combined with cash savings is a pretty good way to go, I feel. Um, Caliber hoard and possess. Yeah,
Underrated comment right there.
yeah. Um, my issue with Clandestine, my issue is with that now is I want to keep the watches I currently have. They're each
Yeah.
unique, and I cannot foresee letting one go. That's when you hit the end of the road of the watch equity. That this is what happens. So
Yeah.
it there's it so you can look at it as it poses a problem, right? Um, or it's almost like a sense of freedom. Like, okay, have to do this anymore. I could just save up, right? No, no
I don't
good.
have to do this anymore.
I don't have to, you know. But then like your frequency of buying watches may be few and
But you
maybe
do have
further
to
away.
do it.
But
You
you
do
do have to
have to
do.
do it, Bobby. The little guy on your
Uh,
shoulder.
yeah. Let's see here. Um, find
It
some
does get
comment.
harder and harder though as you narrow in on what your taste is, and as you
Yeah.
get watches that you really truly enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're just like, I got nothing I want to get rid of.
Yeah.
So then you got to start like saving money and stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
that's no fun.
No.
Yeah.
No. Justin, I find that being broke helps prevent excessive watch purchasing. Really helps
Mm,
me get through the cycle of desire without a financial hit.
it's a good
Mhm.
tip.
Justin, selling watches is the worst. Selling really sucks. Huge time sink I found. I mean,
I don't
any,
think it's a big deal, honestly.
I know, but I mean, like anytime Sanjay has to, you know, spit out logic about selling or getting rid of watches, I get a little chuckle.
But wait for
Um,
his next comment.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's it's,
Oh,
it's a, one or two comments down.
trading on the
Yeah.
other hand. Gotcha.
There you go.
There you go. Okay. Uh,
He's lucky he has a
James,
good
I
trading
he
store.
does. He does. He does. He's got a good partner with that trading with
Yeah.
the AD that he works with for sure. I'm considering trading watches, but I won't get as much as selling them on my own. Okay. Yeah.
Trading's difficult. I mean,
Hmm.
Sanjay made it sound easy because he has a store that he uses and they give him good pricing. But
They give them
trading
like
privately,
90%. If you
ooh,
can, if
yeah,
all of us could trade in and get 90%, there'd be a lot more trading
Oh
yeah.
going
yeah.
on.
But like going on a forum and saying I want to trade this for something, like
Right.
finding a match is like
Right. Right.
impossible, man.
Hmm. Absolutely. Trading after a crash, even better. Um, BDev, I feel that watch purchases are slowing down. I'm having a hard time selling off some of my watches at reasonable prices, usually below market. Some guys on WS Watch You Seek are saying the same thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
I've noticed that when I was selling some of the watches. Now look, I was selling it in another group, and that group, is infamous for uh, no holds barred, kind of like lowballing or having to bring your price low. But the upside to that was that everybody knows what the gig is, right? So like you're not going to get somebody complaining about something. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
so the sale is done and final. Yeah, you're going to take a hit, but it's a smooth transaction and it's good for the seller and for the buyer. But when I was on Watch You Seek as well, I started trying that with some of the pieces that I knew I couldn't sell in this other forum. Um, prices, I mean, I thought I was putting fair prices on stuff and I had to bring them down a little bit, so prices, it's getting tougher to sell for sure. Most watches, most
If they
watches.
aren't if they aren't hype watches,
Yeah.
it's getting tough.
Fast Wong, purging is good. So 3 watches I bought pre-owned for even money.
Yep.
Bought one new De Bethune, no
Ooh,
regrets.
which day Bethune?
Yeah,
That's what I
which
want
one,
to know.
please? Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Uh,
regrets.
okay, BDev here again. The new U.S. tax laws are going to have an impact on watch sales through PayPal and eBay. Both will have to send IRS a 1099-K for the sellers of sales over 600 for the year. Oh, really? That's a bummer.
Get a good reputation and accept wire only.
Yeah.
This is not professional tax advice. I don't live in the
No.
US. Do not come after me, the authorities.
Oil money saying if only that trade-up strategy applied to his wife and not my watches.
Oh,
That oil money. I bet you she's a saint.
yeah.
Yep. No doubt about
I
that.
think he's lucky.
Yeah. I think he knows that too. I think he's just
Yep.
clandestine. My watches are too toxic to trade. I think I'd be better off finding a wacko that likes the watch I'm looking to get rid of and get a good price for it. Yeah, it's possible. Paul saying I sell off a few at some point for something truly fantastic, bit not yet there, but not
Ooh,
yet. LOL.
nice.
Ooh, guys, how much discount percentage should one ask for a new CQ?
25.
25.
25, settle it. 20 to 15 to 20. That's my gut.
I would say look at the gray market pricing and expect to pay more than that from an AD.
From an 80, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
much more depends on you, but don't expect the same as full gray market. Expect to pay more than that.
Yeah,
Riss
Great
Ross,
watch.
he's still at work. Um,
better in a sub.
it might be better than a sub. It might be. Um, we'll catch later. No problem, buddy. We'll be here via replay. Uh, I'm imagining a world where his toxic watches bring him back 90%. LOL.
Someday his toxic watches will
You
be
know,
worth tons. Watch.
I told this. I know this sounds stupid, but having a watch that I know I can't get 90% or even 80% on, it feels kind of comfortable. It helps me settle in with it. There's no temptation. It removes the temptation to like, did I spend it right? Should I spend it on something else? It's like it's a nice feeling. If you know you love the watch.
Right.
I don't
If you
get
love
it.
the watch, it's not toxic at all.
Yeah.
James is asking, would it be in poor taste to ask for a discount on a GS if the AD has to order the watch?
Probably.
Can I one other point about that what I was just saying?
Absolutely.
Archie Luxury, I got to go back to this. Two of the most common advice he gives to people is that's probably bad grammar, but he tells people don't sell, right? And don't buy toxic. But if you're not going to sell, doesn't matter if you buy toxic, right? He's always saying don't sell, don't sell, don't sell.
Yeah.
And if you don't sell, you're not making or losing money.
Does he say don't sell when he's talking to about Rolex though, right?
He does, but if the point is that you're not going to sell,
Mm.
I guess the corollary for him is that you've got the rainy day fund if you have Rolex, right? If you really
hmm
go broke or something like that. But if you're not at risk for that, then you don't need that corollary. And then if you just follow the keep the good stuff, don't sell the good stuff, then it doesn't matter if it depreciates.
James, we're getting a little mixed messaging here. Detroit Spartan is saying if you're trying to build a relationship, don't
Yeah.
ask for a discount. And Wilson's saying it's not in poor taste. Always try to negotiate a discount.
Well,
If you already have a relationship, ask for a discount. I guess just feel it out. I mean, I think like if they're gonna have to order the watch, my personal opinion is like you probably don't want to.
depends which watch. Like if they
Yeah.
just don't have it, like if it's a watch they'll order and they'll sell it within a day or two if you don't buy it, then it's probably not worth asking. But if they just don't have it and they're like, "Oh, I can order it in for you, no problem," then yeah, you should work out a discount before you order it.
Kevin's saying you can always ask if there's something they can do about the pricing. He doesn't find it objectionable. Wolfgang, an order at AD will not change discount at all, I think.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
He's saying if you
Depends.
order it versus if you're at an
You should
AD and
still
you
get
ask
it.
them to order it versus if they have it already there, it doesn't change discount.
It really depends on the watch, like if it's a high demand one or not. I guess it can't hurt to ask, honestly.
Yeah, even if you want to build a relationship, I mean, if you just ask and they say no and you buy it anyway, you haven't hurt your relationship by asking in the
Well,
first
here's the
place.
thing, like you need to know if you can ask for a discount on that particular watch. You need to do your homework. You need to know what the gray market pricing is, what the used pricing is.
hmm
Like when you're asking for a discount, you're not just like, "Hey, can you give me a discount?" and just see what they throw at the wall. like see if it sticks, right? You should know your numbers and say, I know I can buy this for 20 off at Joma Shop, or I can buy this for 35 off on, Watch You Seek or whatever. So I would like this off, and can you order it in for me if you don't have it?
MJ says, always ask. The worst thing they can do is say no. Wilson, I ordered a GS and I negotiated a discount. Real life lessons here.
Wilson's charming as hell, so just
I
listen to
know.
him.
That's true. That's true. Just talk to Wilson.
It's
Yeah.
true.
He's the watch whisperer.
Yeah, he totally is. So we're talking about relationships, right? With ADs or developing one, right? What does that mean? So does that mean um, making a personal connection with your sales rep, getting their number, texting them every once in a while, or does that just simply mean, okay, I bought a watch. Next time they'll look me up in the computer and they see that I bought there before. Is that good enough? Do you have to do something extra?
It's probably a combination. If you're just if you're just baseline courteous and nice and you buy a ton of stuff, but you don't text them or
Hmm.
it's probably enough to just buy a ton of stuff, right? I mean, it could be either or some combination thereof.
Yeah, it
But it
depends
takes
how big
time.
your
Right.
wallet
Yeah.
is.
Right. But it takes time to buy a lot of stuff, though, right? I mean, like, we're not talking about in one sitting, I'm going to buy 5 grand Seikos, but like,
Some people do.
Good.
Okay, true.
You go
Some
in,
people
buy a
do.
pile of jewelry. I'm sure that goes a long way.
Yeah.
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 So if you're a regular guy like us, I mean, it you need to show your face,
Hmm.
show up, talk to them, make sure that they understand you're a collector. You're not just in it to try to, make money or something like that. And over time, you get their number and you text them every once in a while without being annoying, hopefully. And, you know, yeah, I think you need to go if you're just spending a normal amount of money, normal as in the psychotic white watch whiz, normal amount of money.
Yeah.
Um, I think just buying a few things every once in a while probably isn't enough if you want to you're asking like to get Rolex or something like that.
Well, I'm just asking that in general, but
Okay.
building, like, what does that mean? Because I hear it all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm sure everybody's heard it. I just wanted to make sure, like, we know what we're talking about, or we're on the same
Mm,
page of what a relationship is. I understand it could be different ways to approach it, but especially when you're starting from scratch, um,
right.
it could be a little daunting, right? I mean, like, for most of us, most people are probably only buying a watch maybe once a lifetime. I don't know. I mean,
Some, yeah. Yeah.
so yeah. But the dealer doesn't know that when they're first meeting you, right? Um, so I don't know. I don't know if there's a way that somebody like James can like assure them or speak to them in a way that says, like, hey, I may be a return customer here. Treat me, you know, give me a break here, and then we can make this relationship work if you want it. I don't know. I don't know if that's if that's a thing.
Mm.
Um, Detroit Spartan thinks, Random Rob thinks all Grand Seiko should be discounted. Okay. Wilson, my garage smells like grapes. Okay. There we go. What are they going to do? Cancel Christmas? You're right, Justin. Just ask. Just ask. Um, any watch they will discount with
Yeah.
order two.
Yes. Absolutely. My first instinct was that it was like a watch that they like never have and they have to
Hmm.
order it in to actually get it and you have to wait for it kind of thing. But if it's just like, oh, it's not in stock right now, I can order you one. Yeah, ask for a discount.
Caliber saying demand a Daytona and demand a 10% discount, or settle for a Hamilton and a pen. Kevin S. Buy a watch or watches from an AD, and each time you go to the AD,
Yes.
wear the watch you bought. I think that's a good
It's good advice.
idea, good advice, and let them know how much you enjoy the watch. I think that helps. Absolutely, I think that's
Hmm. Leave them a good review on Google.
hmm
Little things.
quicker than drawing. Yeah, approaching them with a believable narrative and spending money on other things at a store will help, but the human connection aspect should not be overlooked. Agreed.
Hmm.
All right. I'm also buying a watch once or twice per year ish in the future.
Just once or twice.
Yeah,
From each store.
from each store that he's ever set foot on.
Yeah.
So James, I'll ask politely. I will also have a backpack full of trading watches to reduce toxicity. Okay. Um, so speaking of, well, no, I'm not speaking of toxicity. Anyway, a couple of us were having a conversation earlier today, and we were talking about someone we know, the person that the company that he used to work for. The a person in management was in a cover of a magazine, and this person was wearing a Richard Mille. Now, the backstory on this guy who was on the cover of the magazine, he tended to flaunt all his Richard Milles. He has like three of them, and you could just he just likes to was flaunting them, right?
Hmm.
And you could tell on this picture that the way he was posing was just specifically just to show off the Richard Mille, right? So the conversation that we had, or it just birthed this conversation, is Richard Mille a douchey brand, or um, is it the person that makes it douchey? Um, and are there douchey brands out there? Sorry for keep on using that word, but it's really the best word to describe it. This scenario.
Hmm.
Um, Colin, do you think Richard Mille is a douchey brand, or
I'm
just
not
its
con-
clientele?
I'm not convinced that it's a douchey brand. It's definitely douche adjacent. um, but uh, I'm not convinced that it is. Uh, yeah, you're gonna have to come back to me.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Amin, does your douchey
I don't think
radar?
so.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I have zero experience with it, right? So the only people that I've seen wearing RMs are like celebrities, sports
yeah.
stars, things like that.
Odell
Um,
Beckham,
like
allegedly.
if I had a yeah, if I knew somebody who was really wealthy and they got an RM, would I think that was douchey? I wouldn't. I think they're cool watches. I really,
Mhm.
yeah, I
I
wouldn't.
do too. That's
Yeah,
why I'm torn because I
yeah.
really do actually think they're pretty cool. And if I had that kind of money, I'd
Well,
probably get one.
let's
You
get
know,
back to that just that statement there. Colin, go ahead, Amin. Just
yeah, and I think that so I don't think that a watch type is makes sends the douchey message in general. Um, I do think certain watches say different things about people though, in a way. Like there's certain watches I said I think Teddy Balzar may have done a video about this, but certain watches that I look at and I go, oh, that person collects watches, or they spend
yeah.
time thinking about watches, and others, where I don't get that impression. And RM, I would think if I saw it that somebody liked watches. I mean, not just pure rich person badge, but
Right.
I could be totally wrong about that. I mean, but
Chaz, do you get that vibe from RM?
Well, I think it's one of those. You probably got to need a Marcus type chart to, you could have the douchebag line and which side it falls. Uh, I'm not very analytical, so I can't really put that together. But I think the douchebaggery has more to do with the owner than it
Sure.
does the
for
watch.
sure.
I think you could have a douchebag wearing a Seiko or whatever it is. The douchebag, is the one wearing the watch. not the watch making that guy a douchebag. In other words, so that's kind of the way I see it. I don't know,
Yep.
but I,
Chaz,
you know, again,
Chaz, if there was an over under of you saying douche bag, I think you went over it. I think you went
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
I blew somebody's over under right there. Sorry. But when a guy makes a picture and pulls his jacket back and holds his hand up and smiles real big, you know, and he's got this giant watch there, you know, that's gotten douchebag written all over it, you know. Um, I think you have seen a rise in douchebagness um, with the Instagram world, you know, where
Oh, yeah.
everybody says, look at my watch, you know, this is who I am, this is what I can afford. You don't have one like this. You know, it just gets old pretty quick, you know. People trying to impress somebody with a watch, pretty silly.
Yep. Div saying I want an RM to look down on the pores. MJ design kills it. Nefarian, it's the summer eve of horology. Okay. Richard Mille somewhere between Hublot and Frank Muller in the douche meter.
Yeah. Hublot's just a slam dunk douchebag watch.
Oh,
In my
Amin, I
opinion.
sense it. I sense you disagree.
It made me think. I just saw this Watch Eric video where he said he was talking about a particular Hublot, and he was like, he's like, when I see one, I think either you didn't get the memo, or you still really like the watch. He's like, but the first thing that goes through my mind is you didn't get the memo. Oh, it was really funny. That guy is
That's
funny.
actually really good. That's
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
Uh,
I could see some of those watches that I like too. So, you know, I agree with Chaz's basic point. The human makes the douchebag.
Yeah.
but it seems like a lot. Richard
but it
Mille
could be-
attracts a lot of douches. That
It could be that that humans who are douchebags tend to gravitate towards watches
Well-
that are a flashy show of wealth, right?
Yeah.
Which RM certainly are. But I think they're cool watches, though. Some of them are just cool watches. That's why I give a I don't make the assumption that somebody's a douchebag.
So here's my problem. And Chaz, I love you, buddy, but I'm gonna point out something you said. So you said
Shocker. No, go ahead.
No, you said, you know, they're flashing it online and saying, look what I can, you know, buy, and you don't have it. I don't see a lot of posts like that personally. So I kind of wonder if it's the viewer that's inserting those words into the mouth of the poster just because they're posting a super expensive watch. Like I think yes, there is definitely a lot of them where it's just like, look at my expensive watch. But I don't necessarily see it as them rubbing it in. So
But
I don't know.
you see some though like that, right? Like not zero. Like in the Facebook groups. I won't name names, but
Sure, the way that they do it, or it's more sneaky than that. Than like, look what I can get and you can't. It's a little more sneaky, I think. You do see it.
sometimes you see it.
Sometimes you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see it with Rolex too. You see it with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one guy I can think of in a Facebook group posted all his Pateks and said, "These are the ones I don't wear." And then he posted all his Rolexes and said, "These ones I wear a lot more." And it's just kind of like
that is
yeah,
okay. Sure.
RMs are engineering wonders, but kind of G-Shock looking.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool too.
Paul saying I'd get an RM if I needed something to work out in.
A lot of the steering wheel shots come across pretty douchey.
Oh yeah. I was just thinking that too.
They just kind of do. It's
Yeah.
not like you can't do a cool one, but and it is it's an interesting shot when you see the hand over the wheel driving, but when it's just here's my watch and here's my Mercedes symbol or my McLaren steering wheel or whatever. It's just kind
Yeah.
of douchey.
Trying a little
Lighting's
too
usually
hard.
lighting's usually really good in cars, though. That's the shame.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of times you're like, man, that would make a good picture. Like, look at that light. It's like I can't do
First of
it.
all, I agree with Colin. A lot of this could be projection. I'm not saying I'm, you know, I don't
I
know.
do
I
it
don't know
too.
what's in.
I
I
do it
don't know
too,
what's in
Chaz.
some.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in somebody's heart. Only,
Yeah.
they could be pure as driven snow. But I think part of this is we're struggling to define what this is, which basically it when you see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it is. And usually it's universal. You don't have to point to somebody and say that guy's a douchebag. Usually
Yeah.
everybody knows it, so
Yeah.
you don't have to point it out.
Yeah. No, I'm not picking on you, Chaz. I was just
No.
thinking.
Wilson's saying it's all about how you carry it. Not a douchey watch, but could be a douchey owner. Wayben, hey, what's up, man? At their price point and the way they consciously play on exclusivity and selling only to the right sorts of buyers makes them douchey.
Yeah, but just because you're the right sort of buyer doesn't make you a douchebag. It just makes you probably really rich.
They're out of my attainability range, so I don't really give RM any thought. And I honestly, I don't
That's
really
true.
give them that much thought
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, me too.
Same here.
See one RM and you've seen them all because you'll be blinded by its garishness. Come on, skipping stuff here. The new Nadal looks pretty sweet. It's just the bling money factor, like a flashy gold Nautilus versus an understated white gold Patek that no one recognizes. I feel that debaggery is top down and it attracts the type.
Top down.
Paul said, I once met a douchebag wearing a Rolex. Swear to God, that happened.
I think honestly, like Rolex is probably the biggest douchebag brand, isn't it? It's got to be because you're attracting all the people with inferiority complexes.
In
And
total numbers, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
like go in a Rolex group. Oh,
Gotta win.
it's horrible.
Greg saying, let's play a drinking game. Take a shot every time someone says DB. I had a coworker with two MTs and Paul's killing it tonight.
The whole chat's hilarious tonight.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
keep giggling.
A lot of douches wear Rolex and think anything else is garbage, even Patek, etc.
Yep.
Oh man, this is great. The whole RM marketing makes me wanna throw up. Everything wrong. Oh, is that a German thing when
Ooh.
they do the quotes? The one
Oh,
down,
like
or is that
one
is that
down,
like
one up.
are we the only ones that just do both up? I don't know.
I think you're right, Wolfie.
I have no idea.
Wolfie hates RM, eh? Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Never
marketing.
seen him
the
so
marketing.
angry. Yeah.
Cowboy, there's a guy on Facebook who owns and gets a lot of nice expensive watches and kind of thought he might be a douche, but seeing him live on streams, realized he's the nicest guy and a true enthusiast. Ah,
Who?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Name names.
Wonder who
Name
that
names,
is.
sir. Name names. Okay. Chat, you've been great tonight. Really cracking me up. Thank you so much. I got to put Paul up because he's been
I
killing it.
bet you I know who he is. He's talking about, and I agree. If it's the one,
Well, who do you think it is?
I don't want to say it, because.
But if he's a nice guy, who cares? You're not like Slam.
But he'd be saying that he comes across like a douche on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, it's me.
I started to say that right off the bat.
I'm gonna take it as a compliment.
Oh, all caps.
I was thinking of someone else.
Oh, that's awesome. Uh, uh,
Thanks, buddy.
but it's not Rolex's fault. That's people. People suck. Rolex rocks. Yeah, I agree. Wolfgang, I saw a guy in Vienna with a sub on one wrist and an Aquanaut on another. That's pretty douchebaggery, right? But in all seriousness, though, right? I mean, like with Richard Mille, right? And we'll wind up with this and potentially spending about $1 million on a watch. You have the money. Like, if I hit the lottery tomorrow and I had like 100, $200 million in the bank, I'm not buying that $1 million watch. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be buying a $1 million watch.
I am.
So
I'm buying
I
more
know
than one.
I know someone. Well, let's just say who's in a different situation than I am. And
Mhm.
the last two watches that he was interested in buying were a Mill Sub and a gold Paul Newman Daytona vintage, right?
Yikes.
So those are both six-figure watches, right? And one of them is high
Maybe
six-figure.
7.
Yeah, maybe 7. And it seems so foreign to me, but I think that the same way that us buying a $10,000 watch is really foreign to most humans on earth
Mhm.
Yeah.
is when you just have that much money, you maybe you might see things differently. I don't know.
Those
I'm
are
speculating.
those are enthusiast type watches, right?
They're enthusiast watches, but
Like
can you imagine wearing a 7-figure watch?
yeah.
Like
At that point, like you just put it in a case and for display.
no,
And
No,
under a
these
maybe
certain,
not.
these were gonna
No.
see regular use.
wow.
Regular use.
Yeah.
In rotation with an Apple Watch.
Well, then that's amazing and that's awesome. You know, um, I buy. You know, someone else we were talking to brought up that point earlier. It's like I'd buy that $1 million Reverso, right? Because that is an incredible piece, right? And that's like a collector's type watch, right? But the Richard Mille, I got to tell you, okay, all right, maybe I would spend $1 million on a watch, but it's certainly not going to be a Richard Mille. I don't know.
Really? Because I
Yeah.
feel like if most of so that JLC that he's talking about, that's a watch I'd be afraid to wear because I'd be afraid I'd break it.
Busted.
I would mess it up. I'd have to send it for service. A Richard Mille, I'm not afraid of that. They're built
It's a $1
to
million G-Shock.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's okay. I got 200 in the bank, man.
But if you could buy that Reverso, you're not worried about getting it fixed.
Yeah,
Right.
you are. I think you
No,
are.
you're not. If you
You
can
still
pay $1
care
million
about
for
the
a
things
watch,
that you have, I think.
yeah, but you could get it fixed. You're not going to worry about that. You're
But then
going to
it's
enjoy
gone
it.
for like a year. Like
But that's when you wear your Richard Mille. You send your $1 million Reverso off for service. Then you wear your Richard Mille.
It's
Right.
kind of like the Doxa, but 400 times the price. It's light, it's super light, it's rubbery, it's fun, it's sporty, but you have to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
well, we should get the CEO of Richard Mille on the stream to tell you why it's different, I guess.
No,
I'm
obviously
not going to be on because I called him
not
a
saying
douchebag.
I'm not
Many
saying it's the
times.
same thing. I'm just saying like the way that
I get it.
G-Shocks and Doxas are to us.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
a
that's true.
bulletproof, super fun, light thing that doesn't look like other stuff.
See, I'd be more inclined to buy something like you mentioned, like the gold Paul Newman
Mhm.
Daytona. I'd be more inclined to buy something like that than some uber complicated $1 million. I can buy an uber complicated $100,000 piece or $200,000 piece.
Mm.
Well, I can't, but if I was in that situation,
Mm.
so I'd be more likely to buy something that's just really rare, but probably more simple in complication.
Pete taking the more money, more problems approach. Psychological research has proven as people get more money, they change their values and ideas of right and wrong.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Something's cool as hell is people wear the shit out of something outrageously expensive. Sure. Are you really getting more watch after you hit 100K?
You may have hit the point of diminishing returns,
Mhm.
possibly.
Well, then the super rich go for something that's exclusive, right? I mean,
Exactly.
they want something that, this is, you can't, I mean, there's one,
Well, piece
that's
uniques, yeah, like you
right,
see people doing that, right?
right.
I'd probably do that.
I think, if I had that kind of dough, I mean, I'd get a private jet first.
Well, you already got the jet, right?
Yeah,
Don't
you
you?
Right.
have the jet.
Yeah.
They got two.
Yeah.
You better have a jet.
Yeah.
Or you
Right.
have whatever you want. Whatever you want first. If the jet doesn't really interest you, then you've got the other stuff you want first.
The yacht.
Yeah. Whatever it may be. The island.
There's always someone richer than you, though,
That's also true.
The
unless you're
right.
one
Unless you're
person.
Putin, then there's nobody richer than you.
Unless you're
But
Putin.
Yeah.
Rob, if you got a Richard Mille, I wouldn't think you were a douche.
Oh, man,
That's
Chaz,
nice.
that's what you get on the top billing here.
I just
You
felt
know?
like I needed to say that.
Yeah,
So,
no, I appreciate that.
Colin,
Thank
on
you.
the other hand,
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd be insufferable.
that's
Yeah.
it's a little. He might be. That might push Colin right over the edge there. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't think he would be either.
Yeah, I get the G5. You know it. You know it. Oh, yeah. Monster
Get a
truck.
monster truck?
Totally. Totally get a monster truck.
Like the Gravedigger? Like the actual Gravedigger?
Bigfoot. Remember Bigfoot? That was like the biggest monster truck ever.
Gravedigger's iconic, though.
Get a McRib year round instead of once a year. You're right. That's right. That's right. I feel like that's from a movie. But that's true. I'd get the McRib.
I think I would get one of those Grubel GMT Sport waterproof watches before I got a RM. It's more interesting.
Yeah.
But I
Sure.
I like RMs.
Yeah. Colin is skating on some thin douche over there. Kevin will
What
get
did
rims
Colin
fist
do?
up.
I don't know. It's a character, guys. Come on. I'm like Archie.
I filled my pool with Jello before I did anything. Paul is on fire in fuego. Justin would turn to Brad Wesley from Roadhouse. What else, guys? A few more minutes.
I think Amin
Well,
did have the thing though. It's all about your perspective based on where you are and your own level of comfort and how much you're willing to spend on a hobby. For people who are not into watches, they already think all of us have already crossed over that line long ago. They see any watch purchase over what, $500 or 6 or 7 maybe as being absurd. So, and in many parts of the world, we're all in douchebag land, So it's all perspective. It's where you are, and if we were in that level, we would be playing with different things and different comfort zones, all those kinds of things.
Joe would build a house or buy a house of solid gold. All right, Chad, come on, give me something good to sign off on. What would you do if you had a couple $100 million? What's the first thing you get? Come on, one thing to sign off on. Chaz, Amin, Colin, Thank
Mm.
you so much. Amin, anything new coming up? Any reviews? Anything you got?
Wolfie wants to he mentioned this to me a couple weeks ago about trying to get Emily
Mm-hmm.
is it Newsom? Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who's a watchmaker on the stream. So I said I'd be happy to host, or I don't know if Rob, if you said, I don't care which channel
Yeah.
or whatever, but be happy to get Wolfie while he's still in this time zone and Emily on the stream and have a conversation.
Excellent.
That'd be cool.
Chaz, what do you got going on?
Just wheeling and dealing, making the magic happen. Normal stuff for me. So, no, thanks for having me on, Rob. Always a
Yeah, no
pleasure.
problem. Colin,
Yeah, not much going on, man.
how much?
Just hanging out, waiting for my doxa to come.
Yeah.
Put a deposit on a watch today, to be announced later.
Oh, okay. Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, you get the last word. He'd get a mustache for sure. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night. We'll see you next week
See you guys.
on Wednesday
Good
Night
night.
Watch Talk. Take care.
See ya.